Good morning. Welcome aboard. Can everyone hear me okay? I got your seatbelts on. Mahalo. My name is John. I'll begin ready in just a minute. So as soon as I'm ready, I just need to make a request so I can depart from the airport. And we'll be on the way shortly. So the previous flight we had, the visibility around the island was more than 10 miles. Only a couple of areas, some light turbulence. There's nothing to be afraid of if we encounter any turbulence at any time. I'll make the flight as comfortable as I can. So on the side of the panel below, the safety briefing cards, the Aloha bags. The Aloha bags in the back are in front of you, in the back of the seat. We have the air-conditioned vents along the ceiling for me. You can turn the vents to make you feel comfortable. The door handles, just twist the door handle towards the floor, it just swings open. The front of the door, the emergency door handles, just remove the cover, pull the red handle, the door just falls towards the ground. So as we depart from the airport, I'll be making a right turn. We'll head to the mountain towards the right, let's head to the west. We'll head to the valley called Hanapepe. So that's where Jurassic Park was filmed. We'll continue to the Miami Canyon, the Napali coast on the western part of the island, and we'll head to the northern part of the island from there, and then towards the crater by Ale Ale. That's towards the back of us on the eastern side of the island. So as soon as I get ready, I'll be making the call, so you're going to take a clearance. There's traffic, landing, departing. So be looking as well as listening to the radio for any traffic. So as soon as I make my request and I receive my clearance, I'll let you know. We'll be departing. So just received my clearance. We'll be departing. I got cleared from the heliport area. So starting below, right, to left. The Rosa Nesta, that's the Marriott Hotel. They have a public parking lot. There's a public access within the hotel to get to the beach below called Kalapaki. The name Kalapaki, which means to divide. There are several different restaurants within the hotel below. The Timbers Resort directly below. And then towards the left of us, there will be the Nini Lighthouse. It's a historical site. The first lighthouse was created there in 1898. So from the hotel, they do have a public access road that takes you to the lighthouse and continues along the coast. The golf course, part of the Marriott, 36 holes, designed by Jack Nicklaus. The lagoons around the golf course that's man-made. It was originally grown in sugar for decades before it became a golf course. So the ship and harbor below, Na Wili Wili, the Hawaii name was named from the Wili Wili tree found here along the mountain. No other Hawaiian island, no other place in the world. The river, Hole'a, a national wildlife refuge. The pond, Alokoko. It is an old Hawaiian fish pond, once used to stock fish for the early king and queen for decades. It is the last of 6 that was created here below within the valley. Rotocarbon dated, 600 years old. So the river was in a movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was with Harrison Ford. The narrow valley towards the right of us is where he started, headed to that cave at the side of the valley below. The natives were waiting for him as he came running out of the cave, chased him back towards the river. The seaplane took off and followed the mountain from the back of us. The open area below, scenes from Jurassic Park, with the mountain as the background scene. The valley towards the left of us, Kipukai, the entire valley, the road from right to left, privately owned. So the beach and the bay was where the opening scenes, Lost World and Jurassic Park 2. So the family were having their picnic along the beach in Puerto Rico. That was filmed here. The bay with the yacht, which was the background scene. So the mountain range, Haupu, from the back of us at the harbor, ahead of us 15 miles. Its name to remember, 2,297 feet, the peak of the mountain. So towards the left of us, there will be Poipu, the southern part of the island, one of the destination resort areas. Poipu, which means crashing waves, the large waves in the winter, that's where the name originated. It's for the last eruption that created the island, last eruption 2 million years ago. Right away along the beaches, hiking trails, restaurants, shopping villages, 5 separate golf courses. Towards the left of us below, zip lines, and left to right, ATV tours. There's a tunnel directly below. They'll follow the road to the valley, take you to a waterfall, and then return back where they started, towards the left of us, in Koloa. So the highway that brings you to Koloa, it means Long Sugar, Poipu, Highway 520, right to left, the tree tunnel branches off on Highway 50. The main highway begins where we started from, the trees, eucalyptus, one of 13 separate species that was introduced into the Hawaiian island. It came from Australia, 1911. Walter McBride planted the trees, 500. It was originally 3 times the length that you see there today. 2.5 miles were cut to grow sugar. The rest of the trees below, from the back of us to the far right of us, eucalyptus. So when the sugar came to an end, the trees below were planted to prevent erosion. It came from Oregon, the Pacific Northwest. According to the sugar, as well as the county, it was cheaper, faster, to bring in the trees from the mainland. So the eucalyptus is found on all of the major islands where sugar was once planted. Kauai towards the left of us, which means Proud Day, followed by Hanapepe along the coast, Crashing Bay. The landslides that occurred in the bay as the first Hawaiian families came to the island. So all of the towns were created around sugar plantations. Sugar was introduced with the Polynesian people. 1835 in Koloa, the first sugar plantation was established here on the island. 33 separate plantations during its peak. It's the third industry that started, followed by pineapple. That was the losses that were having decades ago, 15 years ago. Sugar came to an end. 55 years ago, pineapple ended commercially. Just unprofitable to go pineapple or sugar decades ago. Starting in Hanapepe from the left of us to the Poipu, the dark green fields of the coffee. 25 years ago, McBride Sugar diversified into coffee. It's the largest coffee plantation in the United States. It's the second time it's been grown commercially on this island. Some started in 80 cents within the valley below, Hanapepe, in the middle of the valley below towards the right of us. There's a few waterfalls. So ahead of us on the western part of the island towards Poipu and the southern part of the island from the back of us. It's the largest valley on this half of the Hawaiian island. It is one of the 7 major valleys around the island. There are no public access roads within the valley. The entire valley below, around us above, there are no hiking trails. This is the only way to see the valley on the Pepe. So the waterfall towards the left of us, the movie Jurassic Park. Let's been a helicopter landed at the base of the waterfall. They departed the helicopter within the jeeps from the base of the waterfall, followed the road next to the river, and from here, at the base of the valley, headed to Jurassic Park. So the road at the base of the valley, privately owned, the coffee plantation owns that road. They have the right of way to the water at the base of the waterfall. It's where it's diverted, channeled along the coast, irrigating the coffee orchards. From top to bottom, 288 feet, the Hawaiian name, Mana Vai Opuna. The early Hawaiian families believed spirits will live there. So the name is referring to the spirits below in the pond of water. The helicopter, one of the tour companies, they have a permit which allows them to land here. They will take you to the base of the waterfall and then from here continue around the rest of the island before they return back to the airport where they started. The Twin Falls below Kahili comes from the Kahili ginger, only found below in the valley. There was a Hawaiian island. So the entire forest around us, the damages to the trees, a hurricane on September 11th, 1992, Iniki. It's a Hawaiian name. It means piercing wind. At 10:43, the Category 5 started in Poipu from the back of us. After several hours, the eye of the storm from left to right crossed the center of the island, and slowly it headed away. The winds were recorded 168 wind gusts 257. It made much in history. Today, officially, it still is the fastest wind speed ever recorded in the Hawaiian archipelago of 143 separate islands. So that's the third hurricane crossing the Hawaiian Island on November 22nd, 1982. Eva, a Category 3, out of the west ahead of us, crossing the island towards the back of us in the late morning. August 9th, 1959, right to left, a Category 1 Hurricane Dot crossed the Hawaiian Island. The three hurricanes crossing the Hawaiian Island never touched any other Hawaiian island in written history. So we're crossing the canyon called Olokele. We have two. The larger canyon just ahead, Waimea. You can drive and see Waimea. The entire canyon, left to right, there are no public access. This is the only way you can see the canyon of Olokele. So at the top of the rim in the canyon above towards the ocean, 5 miles, a half a mile across, 3,000 feet is the deepest part of the canyon. The name Olokele, it means swamp or bog. So it starts ahead of us at the top of the canyon, 3,000 feet. The top of the rim above, 5,300 feet. It's a swamp, a bog. That's where the Hawaiian name comes from. It covers 67 square miles above. It is the highest elevated swamp in the world. National Geographic. So along the side of the canyon, coming up shortly towards the right of us, there's the small little waterfall that will be appearing below. So there is pigs, goats, cattle, black-tailed deer. It is the only wild animals in written history that was introduced. The most recent, the black-tailed deer. It came from Oregon, the summer 1968, 1969. It is the only Hawaiian island today that have a black-tailed deer. The top of the canyon of Waimea in 1970, 22 were separated participants. 1,302 were counted last year. There's the canyon, that's a natural fence. It keeps the blacktail within the canyon. It's in the morning, the best time to find them. They're looking for food. So welcome to the Waimea Canyon. This is the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. The side of the canyon towards the right is the first of a few different waterfalls. The road is on the opposite side of the canyon towards the left of us. Because the road is on the opposite side of the canyon, the waterfalls on the right side of the canyon. There are no hiking trails. This is the only way you can see it. Right here. So there'll be a taller waterfall towards the right of us. In the ventricle, I'll be making a radio report. Just to let any other helicopters know my position. So the rest of the island, if you do see me talking, and if you don't hear anything, just making a position report. So the waterfall below is called Waialae. There are no trails to get here. It comes from the Waialae bird, one of 14 native species of forest birds. No other place in the world or any other Hawaiian island is found. National Geographic. So from the top of the rim ahead of us towards the ocean, 11 miles left to right, 3.5 miles, 3,847 feet. It's the deepest part of the canyon. So the entire canyon around us above, it begins from the back of us, the valley of Hanapepe, Alakai, the largest volcanic crater. It created the island. It means to lead or follow. 81 square miles. It was the eruptions from the crater geologists believed in the early stages. The canyon collapsed. It collapsed 4.2 million years ago. The lines across the canyon comes from that crater. It's a separate lava flow. A different eruption. Radiometric dating 5.8 million years ago. That was the last eruption. So within the canyon, there's 4 separate ventricles in the early stages. As the island was being created, the lava carved the canyon. The earthquakes from the eruptions, the walls within the canyon collapsed. Rain, wind, 5 rivers, hundreds of thousands of years. Eroded. Sculpture, the canyon, as you see here around us today. On the side of the canyon towards the right of us, the waterfall that's called Waipo'o. You can hike from the rim to get to that waterfall. The trail, it continues along the rim past the waterfall. And then it loops back where it starts. So they don't want us to make any turns around that waterfall, so we don't create a little noise for the hikers hiking to that waterfall. So by crossing over the road that brings you to the canyon, left to right, the road below ends along the top, the Napali coast. And that's where I'm heading from here. See the Napali. So the roads and the forests, they're public access. Branches off from the main highway. It will bring you by the reservoir. That's man-made. It is stocked with rainbow trout. So once a year, it comes from the mainland. It does take a year to mature. Starting mid-June, early September. Trout season around the canyon opens to the public. So there's 45 miles of hiking trails around this, 55 acres. They're picnic areas. The coastal area towards the Pacific. It's the Navy barking sands, the Pacific Missile Range facility. It was established in 1967. Originally, that's where the first airport within the island was created by sugar plantations. 1921. So the war broke out across the Pacific. That's when the military took it over with the war with Japan. So the Highway 50 ends towards the left of us, the beach Polehale, at the end of the bridge below. The beach comes to an end. So that's where Napali starts from here. So towards the head of us, that's when heading offshore to see the Napali. So the beach below begins from the base of the canyon of Waimea from the back of us. 17 miles. Officially, the widest, longest beach in the Hawaiian archipelago. So on the bridge towards the left of us, that's the Navy. It's a radar site. Tracking, training, submarines, naval ships, aircraft every other year, which is next year. Other nations participate in the training that they do. It extends offshore 143,000 square miles. It's the largest training facility in the world. So it starts ahead of us offshore from that valley, continues along the base of the canyon towards the back of us. The Navy, we do not allow any tours within the airspace on this side of Napali. So as I head offshore, just ahead, we'll continue to the northern part of the island towards the right of us. There's also a NASA radar facility towards the right of us along the top of the canyon. Automated, tracking the satellites, International Space Station. So from the back of us, from right to left, is the hiking trail on the bridge. It ends here at the top of the valley below. One of 4 hiking trail. You can hike to see the top of the Pali. So the trail below is named after this valley towards the right of us. Nubululo, it means land. Nolokai below, it means ocean. So Nolokai is a state park. Minulii towards the left of us is another state park. 2 of 3. So the third state park is at Long Beach called Kalalau. From the beach with the natural arch towards the left of us from the beach Polihale. There are no hiking trails below. The tour boat operators, they tour the Napali. Then they'll hit you one of the parks below. They're having lunch, snorkeling. Hundreds of coral, reef fishes, seaweed. No other place in the world or any other Hawaiian island is found. 90% of its species along the coastal area within the native forest were established millions of years, long before any other Hawaiian island was even created. Hiking within the base of the park, hidden in the 11 valleys along the Napali, the artifacts, the rock formations were left behind. Radiocarbon dating 1,300 years ago when they settled here. Archaeologists, based on the artifacts that they found, 30,000 people lived here. The territory of Hawaii before it became the 50th state started in 1900, forcing the families who lived here to move away. At the end of the summer 1920, the territory of Hawaii recorded when the last of the families moved away. It became a state preserve back then to protect 1,600 archaeological sites along the Napali. So the caves are lava tubes along the Napali, the beach and the valley on the pool. From here towards the back of us to Polihale, there are no hiking trails. You can kayak or by boat. Johnny Depp came here, started from the beach below, headed through the cave, the lava tube, and then continued to the waterfall. Pirates of the Caribbean on stranger tides. 6 days, 7 nights. Harrison Ford and Hiss. They were along the beach when the pirates spotted them offshore. They headed to the beach. They started to run away from the pirates. The movie King Kong, Jessica Lange with Jeff Bridges. They found him in the valley. They captured him along the beach in the movie and took him away from Skull Island. So the beach below the valley of Kalalau, the only state park you can hike, the largest of the 11 valleys, at the top of the valley above the road to the Waimea Canyon. That's where it ends. There's a lookout to see the valley. A hiking trail that follows the top of the valley from the lookout. So the trail to get to the beach, it's that line, zigzagging its way. The trail ends where the beach begins. It's 11 miles. Radiocarbon dating 1860. It was created. So they do want us to remain away from the trail so we don't create a lot of noise for the hikers. You need a permit if you plan to head to the state park. Every year for decades, it's the summer, the peak season. The conditions, the sea conditions is calmer, the days are longer. So all of the permits for this summer, early last year, was already taken. According to the state, next summer, all of the permits is already taken. It's always booked at least a year in advance. So the valley below will be Hanakoa, 6 miles to get here. It's the hardest part of the trail to hike. To continue from here to the beach of Kalalau, that's the halfway point. From here to the beginning of the beach towards the right of us, 5 miles. You can continue from the trail into the back of the valley below. There are 3 different waterfalls you can hike within the valley. The entire coastal area, every year in the winter, you can tell the sea conditions, how high the roads rate in the valley by following the vegetation line. 14 inches last year, it eroded away, averaging 13.5 inches. The last decade, it eroded away every year. So the beach in the valley towards the right of us is Hanakapi'ai by hiking trail, 2 miles, 45 minutes on the average, not more than an hour. You can continue to the back of the valley. There's a waterfall at the end of the trail, 2.5 miles from the beach to the base of the waterfall, 4.5 hours one way to get to the base of the waterfall. So the waterfall is at 1,500 feet at the end of the trail. So we're at the northern part of the island. This is called Ke'e. That is a county park. The Highway 560 ends below. That's the highway that begins where we started, in Lihue. So that's one of the 2 main highways. The other highway is 50 on the opposite side of the island. So they do want us to remain away from the homes, so we don't create a lot of noise. So at the end of the road, that's the archaeological site, the remains of the only hula school that was created by the early Hawaiian families. The first missionaries came to the island in March 1820. After a decade within the island, the missionaries recorded there were 15 hula schools that were created by the Hawaiian families. Missionaries recorded it was men, the only ones for decades, were allowed to learn to dance the Hawaiian hula. If you plan to do any kayaking, that's started in the start. 95% of the year, we have the trade winds that come from the east, as well as the current, and it follows the Napali towards the back of us. You can plan to have someone drop you off, take a picnic, and just head down in the Napali with the current, stopping along the beaches. Eventually, you'll get to the end. This is the beach Polihale, where Napali starts. You can pick it up. So that bay, Manini Holo Holo, named from the Menahoni, who lives there. It's a state park, one of several state parks along the Napali. So all of the parks, they have camping sites, picnic areas. From that park, when the road ends, the lava tube. Follow the road, there's a parking area. Then follow the trail to the lava tube. The large reef, Manini. The large reef is nicknamed tunnels. Hundreds of tunnels, caves within the reef. The Hawaiian name Makua. The town Haena. The bay of the valley is called Wainiha. The longest valley of the 14 miles. The valley was the home for the Menahone. So we cross onto the beach. The valley is called Lumahai. We'll be heading back where we started from, the eastern side of the island from here. This is the Hanalei Bay, then Princeville towards the left of us, one of the destination resort areas. Before Princeville is Anini, that is the Long Reef County Park, the Rocky Point. There will be Kilauea, a historical site. From Kilauea along the Napali, it is a marine as well as a bird sanctuary of the native seabirds nesting along the coast. October to March, the humpback whales comes from the left of us out of the northern Pacific. They follow the coastal area towards the right of us, burn their calves before they return to the coast of Alaska and spend the summer feeding before they return back to the Hawaiian waters. So at Princeville, there's a large shopping village. hiking trails. You can follow the trails to the archaeological, the historical sites. You can follow the trails down to the beaches, the Queen's Pass, the lava tube, 72 holes at Princeville. You can play some golf. So the town of Honolulu towards the left of us, a little music, legends, history, restaurants, gift shops, archaeological, historical sites. You can stop in Honolulu, get a picnic, head to the Bay of Honolulu. There's 4 separate county parks. Well, find the beach. There are numerous private lanes. Late in the afternoon from Honolulu, just head to the end of the road with a picnic. At the beach of Ke'e, Baginet sunset along with the Pali. Having a picnic. Within the valleys of Honolulu, from the left of us, the back of us, the plants and the ponds, the water, kalo, the root used to make poi, the main staple food of the early Hawaiian families. The stems, the leaves are edible. Not native, the Polynesian people when they settled on the Hawaiian island 1,600 years ago. It was introduced. So for decades, the northern part of the island, every year, it grows 98% of the entire state's consumption of poi. So the waterfalls within the Hawaiian island are dependent on the rain. The more it rains, the more waterfalls you see. Haven't had any rain lately for about a week. Just a few days without any rain. The waterfalls, as you notice along the side of the mountains, are dry. So if it doesn't rain for a few days, it just dries out. It's similar on all of the Hawaiian islands. It's dependent on the rain. So according to the state, we do get rain here on the Hawaiian island every day. Since the beginning of the year, averaging about a quarter of an inch. It's not enough to replenish the waterfalls. 2/3 around the Hawaiian island are dry. So from the town of Honolulu, ahead of us, there's a hiking trail. It brings you to the base of the mountain towards the right of us. It ends at that waterfall. The trail is 2 miles. The mountain, Namolokama. So the mountain above 4,413 feet. The 3rd highest peak on the Hawaiian island. So the waterfalls towards the right of us, from top to bottom, 2,107 feet. According to the state, the tallest waterfall here on the Hawaiian island will be inside of the crater by Ale. So that's where I'm heading. We'll follow this valley ahead of us called Honolulu towards the end. On the opposite side of the valley towards the right of us, that's for the crater by Ale, the wettest spot in the world. So there is a trail below from the back of us in Honolulu. You can hike to the base of the waterfalls below. There's a separate trail towards the left of us. So that trail starts at Princeville. It's from the left of us. So if you start from Princeville, you can hike to the top of the waterfall along the side of the valley towards the left of us. Plants, trees, ferns, freshwater fish. No other place in the world, no other Hawaiian island is found. National Geographic. The vegetation around us, the entire Hawaiian island, it's not grass. It's ferns. The Hawaiian archipelago, 168 was discovered. No other place in the world is found. It varies within the forest around the Hawaiian Islands from 12 to 20 feet in height. The top of the mountains around the Hawaiian Islands less than a quarter of an inch. Some of the species around us are edible. 105 native only to this island. 42 different seabirds, half is from this island, 34 forest birds, 14 are endemic only to the Hawaiian Islands. 13,891 trees, plants were discovered on all of the Hawaiian Islands. 98% of all trees, plants within the native forest on all of the islands. There are non-flowering plants and trees. So some of the trees you may have been noticing within the forest around us with the orange flowers, it's not native. It's called the African tulip. It's native to South America. It is an invasive species found on all of the Hawaiian Islands. So we departed from this valley. Ahead of us, next bridge, making the right turn into the crater. That is by Ale Ale on the eastern side of the island. So we started from the left of us. The airport is along the coast. Left to right, the mountain range ahead of us, Haupu. We headed to the west. We continued over Hanapepe, Jurassic Park. Crossed over Olokele, the Waimea Canyon, then the Pali Coast, the northern part of the island from the back of us. So what we just did, we just flown around the island clockwise. So the eastern wall collapsed from those eruptions, pretty much dating the last eruption 4 million years ago. 357 days every year. It's always coming in clouds. The last several decades. August 1911, the rain gauge was established along the top of the crater. It's on the left side of the rim above. Since then, averaging 341 inches of rain every year. 1981 was the highest rainfall in Mission history. 665.5 inches. So the rain gauge at the top of the crater, it only holds that amount. It was recorded within the first few months of the beginning of that year. According to the states, after the first few months, the rest of the year, exactly how much rain we really had, it will never be known in Britain history. So the rain gauge at 5,043 feet above, it is not the highest point of the crater. A pinnacle next to the rain gauge called Kauai at 5,290 feet. So the pinnacle is officially the highest point of the crater, the highest point of the Hawaiian Island. It means an abundance of water by Ale Ale, rippling of the water. So the name of the crater comes from a pond. It's a natural pond at the top of the crater towards the right of what's above. It's where the Hawaiian dignitaries every year carried to the rim to worship the gods. Because they believed it was the gods above. They created the Hawaiian Islands for the Hawaiian families. So during those religious ceremonies they held along the rim, the wind blew across the crater, the pond. It rippled. So the base of the crater, within the large trees, towards the left of us, there's a hiking trail. You can hike into the crater. There's a few trails leading towards the left of us at the base of the mountain. You can hike into the valley towards the right of us. So the road starts ahead of us in between the two large mountains. The Highway 580, it's where the river Wailua empties into the ocean. And the road comes from the left of us and it continues to the base of the crater. So the large tree was called albizia, native to Indonesia, 1911. Sugar plantations introduced the tree. The eucalyptus around us was also brought in by sugar plantations from the Philippines. The plan was to have the trees mature and to be used as lumber for the plantations. But in written history, the sugar plantations never used the trees. Instead, it became a invasive species within the native forest around us. It's found on all of the Hawaiian Islands. So from left to right ahead of us, sugar was grown commercially. It ended after having decades of losses. So the land was put up for sale. The year was 2000. Steve Case, founder of Time Owner, $43 million, purchased the land around us. So he owns 57,400 acres, the largest private landowner on the Hawaiian Islands. So he leases the land commercially from left to right towards the base of the mountain, towards the fire burners. That's where the tree tunnel is located. The eucalyptus albizia. So when they mature, it's harvested, turned into the wood chips, taken to the generator, and provides renewable energy. Part of the land below is turned into the pasture tree. So the animals that you see below, that's cattle being raised here. There are no natural lakes. All of those are man-made. The reservoir below was used in the movie Jungle Cruise. Dwayne The Rock Johnson was here. That was the movie set that was filmed here. So the narrow valley towards the left of us, the Wailua River. The water comes from the crater by Ellis. So it zigzagged its way to the base of the mountain towards the left of us. So the river passes a front grotto before it empties into the ocean. The solar farms towards the right of us. Solar produces about 30% of the renewability. The wood, 15% biomass. Hydroelectric, 18%. So the unit together is between 43 and 45% available energy, saving about 80 million barrels of oil every year. That's the main highway 56 that brings you to the northern part of the island. It ends along that beach, Ke'e. That's where the Pali starts. The Outrigger Hotel, the Wailua Golf Course, one of two public golf courses. Then the river Wailua empties into the ocean. And across the river, the marketplace, Kauai, one of the destination resort areas. Right the ways along the beaches. The pier ahead of us is a state park. Sugar was shipped from the pier to the mainland for decades. Follow the airport road. It ends along the pier. The beach below is a county park. Donovan's Reef was filmed along the beach with John Wayne, the model. So to get to the county park below, that's the town, the road from Honolulu, from the main highway 56. So when you get in the ground shortly, give some time for a ground attendant to come to the aircraft. They will open the door. It's safer to remain seated until the door is open. So once the door is open, you can remove the headset, you can release the seatbelt, take your time. When you step down, just watch your step. So from the side of the aircraft, just slowly work your way to the front ahead of us. Never wander to the back. The right side and the back of us, that's where the turbo is located. So it's hard to see. So from all of us, at Air Kauai Helicopters, Electric Express, our woman's mahalo. and aloha. Post